So this is the scooter that I played with just at the end of the last lockdown, and I thought it's been sitting there all covered in crap just in this corner of my little shed, and I've been contemplating making a little drift go-kart. So when this is clear at the minute, which it ain't, it's got all my brother's stuff in it at the minute, his moving house and work stuff, but it's quite a decent little area. I thought I could make a little drifting thing in here. So I've got the engine off me acorn flicker, which I've scrapped because the tree's down, gone, so I don't need it anymore. And I'm thinking, rather than buying a load of bits, I might as well just reuse this, so recycle this scooter. So what I'd do is I'd use that front wheel as a drive wheel, and that'll have the motor, this little motor here, this little bugger, which is only 30, I think 35cc or 38cc, something like that, can't remember, but that probably go on there somewhere like that, with the clutch off of that little two smoker there, and the chain and the sprocket, and I'll just change the brake round the other side, and I can reuse all that steering and put a steering wheel on top of it, and that'll be the drive wheel for the drift kart. Then I've got to buy some casters. I did have some, but I used them the other day to put on this TIG welder, so I get a couple more of those little buggers like that, and that'll be the rear wheels, and I can make a handbrakey sort of thing, so I can lock them so it'll drive straight, or release them so as you can do drifties. Will be a right laugh, I reckon. What do you reckon? Anyway, so I've started taking this old piece of shit apart here, taking the homemade expansion off that I made last time. All it seems to do is gets filled up with oil and drips everywhere. So that's two strokes for you. But yeah, I'm gonna hook that motor off and just test fit this motor on the front of this. Once I've got it to fit roughly, then I can suss out a little frame and see how much room I need to fit my ass and me bodily particles on a little cart. And we'll see how it goes, isn't it? So there. Right, got the little motor off. The old stink bomb, look at it. Dirty, dirty thing. And there's a little drive unit, the clutch housing, and that should fit straight on that little bugger because they're all the same generally. Weed eater motors and whatsoever. Perfect, right. And I can change that around for the, so if the drive coming out through the bottom or through the side, there's a little cover goes on there with another bearing in it, like that. That little bugger there goes on there. So that's that bit. And then I've got to suss out how much this I'm going to use, whether I use that wheel as the drive wheel, which would be easy, but it's quite wide. And I've got to take into account where my legs are going to go. So I reckon that might do if I can get a sprocket on that side of there. I have to do a bit of jiggery pokery with the forks, but that's what an angle grinder's for, isn't it? So that's that so far. And it's been bleeding ages since I've been on here. Still done nothing else with the Rover. Look at that poor old girl and her time. Been busy. But I did get a new forklift. Bloody handy that is. Not new to me. And I've got a sink. And I can make my own tea in here. So yeah. Good, isn't it? Right, so I'll whip out this front wheel so as I can see if I can get a sprocket on it. come out, you bastard. Oh, how did I do it? How did I make that? Can't remember. Oh, it looks like I've got to take it right out, take that spindle out, so I'll do that. Right, got them bastards off. So, that's a sprocket off the drive wheel. And all I've got to do is chuck that little fuller on there like that. And then mark some holes and put some threads in there, some little, in there 5mm threads. Then that should be bling dishes for the drive, and it looks like the chain's going to clear the tyre as well. Just turn it up like that. Yeah, perfect. So that'll be the drive wheel, and that'll be that'll sort of sit between my knees, I guess, with the engine slung out the front. And as I say, I'm just going to turn that right the way round, like one way or t'other. So the brake will be on the other side, and this will be the drive side. But that'll work a treat. And I'll make a frame out of some of this old shit on here. I've got some steel I bought for another job a while back. Some 30 by 30 box, so I shall make a little frame to sit on there. Get up some crack. And when the shops are open again, I'll be able to get me casters. Then we'll be away and giggling, isn't it? I reckon the easiest way to get the centre in there, I've just marked the middle of one of those little knobs that stick out. Got a 5mm drill bit. Then I'll just find its centre and just put a little divot in there in all three. And then I should be able to get the right size drill bit and a tap and chuck some threads in there. And we should be laughing. So there's me 3 little divots. Now find another drill bit and a tap. I'll whack the threads in and chuck that on and see if it fits inside the forks there. I think I jumped ahead a little bit. I've mounted the sprocket and made a part of an engine bracket. I've got to cut all this off now and make a new swan neck bit for that. And then I'll probably weld something on here and come across there down to that to hold the motor. Other than that, that's pretty good. And I've already cut the chain, so the chain fits and it's all in line. So I shall chuck that on and see what that's like, isn't it? Bloody chain is on, but it's there. So I'm gonna have to cut that little knob off right there. I'll do that. Right, cut that bit off there. And then it goes on there. Like that. And chain now clears it like that. So I'll put that back on again, can't I? But I might have to get a bit Burt Munro here and just take that nib off the tyre off the side, just sticking out and just catching me chain. So I shall grind the bastard off. Right, done a bit of Burt Munro there, look. Taking the side of the tyre off. Was like that. Yeah, it's like that. Now I've got a bit of clearance, just enough. Where are we? Right there. Now I'm going to make a little tensioner. Put a little ball bearing on there, a little slider. Now keep a bit of tension on the chain. Hang on a minute. Who's putting their fingers in front of the bleeding camera? Me. So that'll hold it like that. Little slidey bit there. And I'll put a bracket on there now. I'll do it now. Then I'll start cutting this off and making the frame. See where we're looking at. But I've had it going and it works. Goes round. See if I can start it. Well, you've got that. Definitely needs to take chain tension. So I'll do that. So that's the bit of my nut flicker what I made for the acorns. And I found that old bearing off of it, and that goes on there, like that. So I'll cut that off, I'll be able to tap that and bolt that, put a bolt in there with a washer, hold that on and make a little adjustable tensioner. So I'll whiz it off with a dangle grinder. Right now, I've cut that off. I might just stick that in a lathe and square it off, then put a bearing on, see how much I need to stick out. Weld that to a piece of angle. Oh look, there's a bit there. Like that. I can cut a bit of that off, weld that on there like that somehow. Put some slots in there so it slides, and that'll slide backwards and forwards and tension the chain up, isn't it? Bleeding marvellous. There's that bit chucked in there. And we shall mainly make it nearly round with this old dunger of a lathe, I reckon. See how that goes. Maybe I'll do it two ends. Done that. Now I'm just going to pop a centre in it and then put a hole in it and thread it for a little bolt which will hold the bearing on. Then I'll cut the length, weld it on that bit of angle, and that'll be a posh as bleeding little chain tensioner, right, isn't it? So now I've ended up with that with a hole in it. I shall just run that tap in there, give me a thread, then I'll cut it to length and then weld it onto there and then put some slots in. See how we go. Right then. That's thread all the way down. Pull that little sucker out. Like that. Now we have a lovely 6mm thread in there. Throw it down there. Maybe I'll pick it up. About a cup of tea. Right, now I'll put the bearing on, see where I've got to cut it, and get on with the next bit. Well, that'll do for that bit. It's good enough. Now I shall weld that on the side, and then take it over to the machine and see if we can mount it. There you go. Just welded it on. Hopefully it still goes on. Yep, perfect. I'll get a bolt for that, go and offer it up, and then that'll be a little tensioner. So let's just hold on with a pair of mole grips at a minute, but now screw runs the tree without any slot. I mean, as what I've got to do, drill the holes in there, put a couple of bolts there for that slide backwards and forwards, bolt in there to hold the bearing on, and I shall get on with this top bit to stabilise the motor, because it's a bit wibble wobble jelly on a plate, isn't it? And no one likes that. Well, my daughter likes jelly, but not me. So I'll do that. Well, I've just cobbled up that little bit of scrap, just cleaned it up a little bit, and that is going to go about there somewhere. Let's make a couple of holes in it so as I can take the bracket on and off a ball, and I'll make another bracket to go from those two top bolts there up to there. That should hold that spiffingly, so I should just weld that on there and try and get it lined up. Right, this one here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, probably not. Right, that's well and truly welded up there. Now I'll probably get rid of that top bit because I don't need it, and I'm going to might weld a bigger piece of tube over there so I can still use that, because that's the way the stem secures into there. It's an old bicycle I butchered a long time ago. So yeah, find a bit of tube to fit over that, weld that on, and then I can make that the right sort of height for my steering wheel, wherever that's going to be, probably about, I don't know, up here somewhere where it's comfortable. So I'll chop all that off now. Sweet. Right, I've chopped that off and just ground it up a little bit, and I found another bit of scrap. So if that can go on there like that, all I'll do is I'll probably grind this a little bit more so it'll locate in there. We can get it reasonably straight then. That means I can still get a socket down there to tighten that up, and I can weld a plate on there to put the steering wheel on. I've ordered a steering wheel from a go-kart, just got to wait for it to turn up. So I'll get that done, and then we can carry on with that engine bracket there. And once that's mounted, I can cut all this junk off, make up that bit, and start making a little frame, and yeah, see if I can fit my ass in it. Only got a small ass, to be fair. Right, so I reckon the easiest way to make that round and parallel is to chuck it in here, in the centre, and I'll just whiz that up. Same size as the internal diameter of that other pipe, so there's a nice tight push fit, and then I can weld that together. And there's our steering column. Right, so I've just recycled the old engine mount, which was on there. So I've cut him off there, clean him up, bolt it on there, and then I'll just make a bracket up to there. This bolt on and offable. That'll hold that all perpendicular. And then this little fella will run Mintez. Found a bolt for that as well, look at that. Still need to drill that and weld a bolt in, a couple of bolts, just tack them on so as I can just nip it up underneath. And then job's a good one. So I'll just make this little bracket up here, and when I come back, as if by magic, there'll be a bracket there. As if by magic, there's an engine bracket. So now all I've got to do is I'll put 2 bolt holes through there. I'll just drill straight through and then tap that and bolt that on, and then make the hole through from that, and then that'll be that bit nearly done. I'll see if it works, isn't it? Oh. Proper. Right, I think it's time to get rid of this bleeding thing off of there now, because it's a pain in the arse. But brackets on, just got to do a little bit more farting around with that later on. Might just fill in that little gap there, put a gusset in there, make it a bit more strength, straight, same up there, and then do that bit. So yeah, I'll just chop that off there, and we can make a new piece, and I can start making the chassis or chassis, whatever. Anyway, I'll make one of those. Mean ass. Right, liberated from the old donor at last, so here we go. That's pretty much what it's going to do. Don't know how much steering we'll get, probably, I don't know, 290 degrees each way, something like that. Should be enough for a drift kart, I should imagine. There's the old donor, poor dead Scooter, Chameau. Never mind, life goes on. Right, so I've just sketched out, I've just set my arse down there and roughly drawn out where it looks comfortable. So that's where, that right there is the pivot point for the steering. That's where my heels go, and there'll be a little plate at the front, and that's about the size of it. My ass will be about there, and the casters will be in the corners. So what I'll do now is mark it out on this bit of box, notch it, bend it, weld it, make 2 of, and then weld it together, and that'll be the basic frame, isn't it? Right, there's the chassis, so I'm going to turn that into one of them like that, which you missed. So I'm going to cut it and notch it, weld 2 together, and that'll be the basic frame. Through trial and error, that's what we come up with like that. I'm going to pull that round, it gets us to 90, but I'm just going to weld it just over 90, which will allow for it to pull in, isn't it? Right, so I welded it up in little segments. I just grind it off, and there's one bend, and I've got to do the other one, and then weld the 2 sections together, and that'll be the outside of the chassis. So that's that one done. That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Now I'll do the other one, then weld them both together, and then see if I can mount the steering. So that one's all marked up, ready to go. That seems to be working out about right, which is good. So I'll cut that one and then weld it up, and then we're ready to weld the two halves together. In it. Posh as. Oops, I may have missed a few steps. But weld it together. Front wheel's going to sit in there, and then it'll pivot from here somewhere. Bit of swan neck up to the thingo. Hopefully it clears my legs. The engine swings out quite a bit, but we'll see. Be able to move my legs, can't I? Anyway, that's that all tacked together. Now I'm going to strip that down and make up the swan necky thingy for it, and we'll see how that goes, isn't it? Right, now I've got this bit of metal for swan neck just marked up. I'm just going to cut some slots in it there and see how many it'll take to make it look nice and do the job I want it to. It's plenty long enough. Then I'll weld that to that bit of the bicycle. Right, there's the swan necky bit. And then I'll probably put a big gusset on the bottom of there and on the sides so it don't go like that or like that. There's the little chain adjuster thing. So that now I can slide up and down on there. Loosen it off a bit. So it goes up and down, adjust the chain. I'll just put it together again a little bit and see how much I've got to cut for this. And then that is going to go somewhere on there, but it'll be lower down like that. So I'll suss out where that's got to go. And then I can tack that all together. And then once it's all lined up and roughly right, I can weld it all together proper. And it could even drag it around the workshop a bit, see if it works, isn't it? Use a pair of mould grips as a steering wheel. Marvellous. Chuck a couple of casters on the back temporary. Got some shitty old ones over there, they'll do. I'll do that. Right, there's some little assembly, so I've just got it in there, roughly where it's going to go. And just put a level up the front of this, up on there, to get it upright, and I've marked it. So I've got to cut that off now, down there, and then should be able to weld that on, and then I can brace it all up after. But just get a rough idea how it's going to work. So I shall do that, cut that off, and weld it on. Just like that. Well, let's cut. Just get it on there and just tack it in the middle. Give it enough room so the tyre's not going to the front, down there. Just get back a little bit, about there. Spot on, so look at that. So I tack it on there, and I can level it up. And oh, it looks spiffy. There you go. All levelled up. So now I'll just weld that on. Right, that's all welded up now. And just for giggles, I've put these shitty old casters on there until my good ones come. And I'll whack the engine on and stuff, and put a bit of wood across there, and see if I can crash into something, which would be a bit of a giggle, isn't it? There it is in all its glory. Might have to go up a bit on the front sprocket because it makes the clutch smell. It'll probably go very fast, but be very dangerous. But it does work, and I've crashed already several times. So I might have another little go in a minute, innit? Fully adjustable right there. Nearly forgot Steering wheel's turned up, and I've just put that on. Just welded the boss on there, look. And welded some studs on. So even got an arrow on there to tell you which is forwards, which is very considerate. Got the seat. That's about where it's going to go there. And got the proper little casters. We'll have two at the front and stop it tipping over and RC me off again, like it did the other day when I played on it. That'll go there. And one on the other side, and then the two new ones on the back on the little handbrake mechanism. Nice, we'll fucking do that now, isn't it? Alright, I've cut a couple of bits of box section just down here, look. And then I've just marked up a couple of bits of flat plate, 1/4, 5mm, something like flat plate, which is going to go in here. And then the caster, it's got a 12mm hole in it, and that'll go in there like that. That could be bolt on and offable, in case they wear out. And I've marked up round in there that curve on my bit of metal, which is over here. Past Dicky Dirt's export. It's upside down because he's been doing some work on it. Look at that. And so, yeah, I marked there. Already drilled a hole, done that one. So I'll just cut that one out, smooth it off, and then I'll go and weld those on, and then try and find some bolts. It's from somewhere, I don't know where. Right, there's both of them done. They're bleeding hot. Smoking. So I'll go and take those on, and then see what it looks like with the casters on. Right, I found two 12mm bolts. I'll cut the heads off. I'm just going to TIG weld them on both sides to give it a bit more strength, because I think I've got enough room around there for the swivel to still, the caster still go on. So I'll just put in the voice for that plate thing. And all good camera work, wasn't it? I'll bleeding weld that on, won't I? Sweet as. Right, they're both welded on. Hopefully that won't fall off. Now I'll go and rig those onto the frame. That bleeding do for the night. So steering's on. Front ones, little stabilisers are on now. Now I've just got to make seat brackets and cut off them shitty old casters, put the decent ones on. I've got to make up a sort of a handbrake arrangement that they sit on. So they run to drift. Apparently they go like that way, but normally it'll run like that. So that'll hold straight. As soon as you pull the handbrake up, it puts it like that, and you can get all sorts of sideways action going on. Should be a shitload of fun. And it nearly bleeding forgot. Also, I bought a bigger sprocket, so the one that's on it is, I think, 68 teeth or something like that I've worked out, and this is, hang on a minute, get in focus, that's 78. So I should have a bit more torque and less revs, and shouldn't kill the clutch so much with my big ass on it, and whoever else's big ass goes on it. Isn't it? Just found my little camera. Now I've got to just suss it out, bleed and use it again. So I've just found a bit of 20mm tube, which is right there, look. Now I'll just tack that nut on there. This is going to be the swivel for the rear casters, so we can do handbrake turns. So I'm just going to weld that on. I'll see if I can get it so you can bleed and see. Right. Get off the bastard. bastard. Where's my bolt gone? There it is. That's one side done, isn't it? There's one end of the swivel done. Just a nut, and the bolt go through and tied up on another nut, and then I let it swivel like that. So I'm just going to whack this other nut on here. Just TIG weld that one on. And that's the swivelly bit done. And I've just got to do the mounts for the casters, the lever to operate it, and some brackets and stuff will be gone in it. Right, take this one. Hello? Right. Rolled this off today, didn't I? Try again. Here we go. Centralised. Good enough. Lovely. Be fucking hot. Right then, just doing some guesstimation. So I'm going to scallop the top of them bolts to fit on there. Like that. I'm going to weld them on and cut them down, and then the wheels should bolt on there. Then I can work out the rest, isn't it? Turn that bleeding thing off again. I'll try not to kill the camera at the same time, I suppose. Innit? Do it with that one. That'll do for that one. Right, let's weld them on. Pretty good. Marvelous. Do that for fucking pit. Right, there are bolts now welded on there where the casters are going to go. I've just cut them down a bit and tidied it up, but not bad. I don't think it's going to fall off anyway, especially not with my ass. I don't know about anyone else's. Do you know what I mean? Right, got another bit of scrap. I just marked up a couple of little brackets there, don't think you can see that. With 12mm hole in, and then I shall put these bolts through there and put the nut on, tighten it up and tack the nuts on that side, and then when these bolts tighten up and go through the other bit, it'll be a swivelly bit, I hope, isn't it? I'm just going to quickly cut these out and then weld the nuts on and see if it works, isn't it? Right, here's one little bracket, There's another little bracket. Put the nuts on. They want to be in business, isn't it? Progress has been made. Might have jumped a little bit, but that's the swivel about a little bit. That's the little stop to stop it going over 90 when you do skiddies, and that's the one that stop it going all the way back so you can track straight. So that makes it do that, and it drives straight and just steers like a normal little car thing. And then when you pull the handbrake, which I'm just going to attach now, which will, I'm going to bend a piece of bar and go over there like that. Then that'll be probably ready for a practice. I might put the sprocket and a new chain on as well to give us more gruntage. And then I'll see if I can fall off it again. Got a bit kinky, but that'll be alright. It's only for a bleeding handbrake. So I'll go and quench it and then cut it to size, isn't it? Right, so this thing ran out of electricity, so I used my phone, but you might have missed, probably did. I did the throttle, so we've got a little throttle now. For that, totally on and offable. And for safety, kill switch. And brakes mounted, just got to make a cable and make another pedal for the other side. So one of those over there. But it goes, I've changed the sprocket as well. So I've got a larger sprocket which has improved it drastically. Could probably go with I don't know, another 10 teeth would make it bleeding awesome, but the clutch don't smell as bad as it used to. And it's a right giggle because I've just been on it and a right laugh. And it was funny as, isn't it? Right, so I've just bent up a little bit of small box, found another bit of scrap, which will be the pedally bit. I've made some holes in it, so it's got a hole for the pivot, hole for the spring, and a hole for the cable. And then I've got, there's my pivoty bit, and then there's the stop. Now I'll just weld them on in a second, and then thread a cable through, and then we'll have a brake as well. Shit. So here it is, nearly puggled together. There's my brake. Sorry you missed it, because I've got started and done it. But same as a throttle, which you missed as well. All I've got to do now is a seat mount, and probably put some braces on the side of that. Might just put a brace down here. Put some bits in here so your feet can't go down. Put some more strengthening bits up here. Put some floorboards on it. And then we can paint it. Oh, it's got a kill switch as well, look, for safety. Right? Done that. So, proper job, innit? Looks longer than possible. Better put the sprocket on, wait. Another Cupid stunt toilet. has been a while, but I'm going to finish this off, getting ready for our Christmas party. So I'm just going to make the seat bracket thingy. Just cut 2 bits of angle that was kicking around in here. It's a little bit busy in here at the minute. Need to do some clawing up, eh? So there's 2 bits there. I'm just going to cut some notches there, some angles on, weld that on. Then the seat can mount to that. That'll be good as gold, and I won't fall off anymore and shit. Right, done some gasometry, and I reckon if I cut them bits out there, weld that together, it'll be probably nearly right and shit. So I shall just go and get the disc cutter and cut them off. Right, that's them bits all bented up. I'm just going to tack them on, and then mark where the holes for the seat are going to go. And I need to make a couple of little angly bits up here for the back of the seat. And then I can dismantle this beast. Oh, and I've got to do guards around it so people don't get maimed and killed, I suppose. Isn't it? Well, that's that tackerated. Where's my chair? There it is. There. Just going to go there like that, and then I just need to put a couple of little angly dangly knobbles just there for the back to rest on, and then we're gold, baby, gold. Of course, you've got to think about safety. So look, stop feet going in them sharpie bits, so people can keep their toes and shit, hey? All I've got to do is cover the spikes so they don't impale themselves. Then I think we're on a winner, isn't it? Safe as houses now, look at that. Bit of de-sharpening. No footsies will go down there. Marvellous. Well, you missed a bit. I stripped it all down. I just chucked some paint on it. Red for danger. That bit. And some black bits. And tomorrow probably, if I get time, I'll put it all back together again. It'll look pretty as shit, isn't it?